George Lopez is back to television. Whoppa! Hey everybody, this is 22 Tiger Dude, and I'm here to do a TV show review on the pilot episode of St. George. George Lopez is back to a sitcom. I am a huge George Lopez fan. I am a huge fan of his original sitcom, George Lopez. I love that show. I love the cast. I love the humor in that sitcom. It's just one of the funniest sitcoms I've ever seen. It's a show I wish was still on because it just had really great writing and I was always entertained by the show. So it really did make me sad when it ended. And then of course George Lopez, he had his own talk show, Lopez Tonight, but that didn't last very long. Thanks a lot, TBS. Seriously, thanks a lot. But now George Lopez has a new sitcom called St. George that comes out on FX. And looking at the promos, I was really excited. I'm all like, yes, he really is just one of my favorite comedians. And Danny Trejo was in it too, so I was excited for that reason. And this is just me reviewing the pilot episode. So, after all the hype and me being excited that George Lopez being in a sitcom again, what do I think of the pilot episode to St. George? It didn't start out well. I was really disappointed in this pilot episode. George Lopez is good. He does do a good job. Danny Trejo does do a good job. And the cast, the rest of them, they were fine for what they did. But the pilot episode was just so poorly executed. The comedy is so bland and terrible. It just wasn't the start I was hoping from St. George. There were moments here and there that did make me laugh, but the whole time I'm watching this pilot episode, I was really bored. I was just not very entertained by it. The plot to the pilot episode is that George hasn't been dating women for a long time. It's actually been a year. And so Danny Trejo and this other guy helped George get out into the dating world and trying to hook on a woman and just, dating her and stuff. So that's really your simple plot for this pilot episode. And look, I guess it was kind of interesting to see George just get back into the dating world, how Danny Trejo and the other guy was helping him get into that dating world. So it has a couple of interesting, entertaining moments, and it has funny moments here and there. It was a very boring, uncomfortable, and unfunny experience. By the time the episode ended, I was just so like, oh man. And the comedy is just so terrible. There's the jokes about penises on the phone, taking a picture of your penis, and you get the running gag of the penis on the phone, and then look at it like, ooh, look at that, look at that. It's all like, really? I really do hope this show is gonna have jokes that are actually clever and not just raunchy joke after raunchy joke after raunchy joke. It was a very lazy pilot episode that had a very bad storyline. It had very terrible jokes. The cast was fine. George Lopez and Danny Trejo were good for what the material they are given. I am still going to give the show more chances just because I'm a huge fan of George Lopez and I really like Danny Trejo. This one just happens to be one of those shows where it gets off to a weak start, but I do hope the rest of the show will actually be very good because I want this to be a show for me to just sit down, relax, and enjoy. And I get to see one of my favorite comedians have a sitcom again. But as far as the pilot episode goes, it was underwhelming, it was boring, it sucked. I'm going to give the pilot episode of St. George a 4 out of 10. I was bummed out. So comment below and tell me your thoughts on the pilot episode of St. George. How do you think the pilot episode went? Are you going to give the show more chances? Subscribe, like, and share. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter. I am 22 Tiger Dude, and don't forget that I will always have Tiger Power!